That is not even taboo. It's like, oh, hell no,
Yeah.
no pun intended.
Welcome to Overanalyze with Dom and Kyla.
I'm Jermaine Dupree.
Oh
I don't know why.
my
Why did I
God.
just say that?
I don't know, but you always have the drink. So today I brought a drink. I wanted to be one of the cool kids.
Celsius not sponsored, but you can if you like. I have a whole fridge full of them.
Yes. All right, you guys. So today we are talking about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Season 6.
Episode 5.
Episode 5.
Yes.
So I want to know what you think I would have thought about this.
The episode?
Knowing me as a Bible thumper, and this episode is about a vineyard and an intuitive reader. Do you think I would have liked this episode?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming there was an area of you that wouldn't participate in either of those activities.
Okay.
Well, I don't know you back when you thumped Bibles, but I feel like you may have questioned things more than maybe you give yourself credit for.
Yeah.
That I love hearing stories of people that grew up like in churches and all this kind of stuff that really were indoctrinated in, organized religion. But I'm very compelled by stories of people that always question things. You know who's really famous for this is Melissa McCarthy. Grew up in a very Catholic household. She went to Catholic school. There was an old interview. She's on the Howard Stern show, and they're talking about this. And she would like raise her hand and ask like, "But why? But why do like things of like?" And then she went to the principal's office because she kept asking questions. And she was like just trying to seek to understand.
Yeah.
I feel like you were kind of like that too. So I feel like maybe even though you wouldn't participate, I feel like if you were presented, I feel like maybe you'd be intrigued. Like, man, I kind of want to though.
Yeah.
Is that true or not?
I think that is true, but I definitely used to try to hide it for a long time. And so I grew up in a household where like if you weren't up and ready to go to church, you couldn't watch TV for the day.
Oh, damn.
So we would mostly just do it so that we wouldn't be in trouble, not like because
you were like,
can't
I
wait
love
to hear the word
church.
today.
Yeah. Or is anyone?
Sometimes, yes.
If you're okay.
So here's the thing. I am big on choices. And if you grow up at a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old going to church, that's what you know. And so then you're 19 and that's what you do because that's what you know. And I don't think that's fair because you didn't have the choice.
Yeah.
So right now, my husband and I do not go to any church type thing on a regular basis because we do not want to take that choice from my daughter.
I've heard that conversation a lot before.
I hate it when people were like, oh my God, of course you're doing this. You were baptized at 7. You didn't know what you were doing. That is not fair. It's so not fair. So this episode speaks to you and I, how we first met in a weird roundabout way. You want to go there?
Yeah, I'm curious. Can I ask you one question before we get into
Yes,
it,
of
though?
course.
This is going to get a little deep.
Overanalyzing?
So my dad was brought up Catholic, my mom Mormon. They don't identify with either religions. We never went to church. My parents were probably like the black sheeps of their family. Like they didn't abide by normal religious norms or rules.
Yeah.
Which is why they're perfect together. One of the main reasons. But as a religious person, I have no experience. My knowledge is like watching documentaries and people's stories when they talk about this thing.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to me, like people who can be like, make your own decisions, this, like, yeah. I mean, and usually there's a lot of rules with that. Like you must go to college at least. And so I know there's like gray area. But why do you think it is when it comes to religion specifically? It's like, no, you got to do this. You got to go to church.
Yeah.
Instead of having kind of what you're saying of like, it's more taboo to like figure out your own journey with religion. It seems like it's the one outlier of like, no, you have to go to Catholic church with me instead of going down to the Methodist church down the street or something. Why is that the one thing? It's like, no, you can't have choice in this.
Where there's no like compromise.
Yes.
It is what it is. Well, because life is easier if you just do what people told you. And so if you grew up Southern Baptist and your parents were Southern Baptist and we are Southern Baptist. If you grew up Mormon, then your parents are Mormon. And it's too much work to decide, well, would I really like to be Catholic? Yeah. Well, what if I would like to be an atheist? Who has time to think about that when it's just easier to just get up and go to church so you can watch TV later?
Because children, they don't know what the hell's going on.
Children literally get the blueprint from you.
Yeah.
I think it's nature and nurture because you get stuff genetically.
Yeah.
But like also if you grow up and that's what you do on Sundays, that's what you do. But like we had it deep where we would go Sundays and you would go Wednesdays and then I was part of the youth group and then like so
you were indoctrinated into the ecosystem.
But also there's this whole thing where I became older where I couldn't value the stuff that I would do and my gifts because I was like, no, but I'm just helping out. No, but I'm just used to seeing that. Like I'm an operations mastermind. I can see 5 steps ahead when I'm doing anything. And I was probably like that when I was going to church, but back in church it was like, no, you're good at hosting events and running things because you can see it. I could have been paid as an event planner,
Mm-hmm.
but I was doing this for free for y'all. So it's like they don't really curate your gifts in a right
Mm-hmm.
way. I feel like I was exploited
Mm-hmm.
because they also didn't tell me that those gifts were valuable. So then you get out and you're like, but you could have had me running a whole business, but instead you just had me running all the weddings at the church at 16 years old.
When do you, and now I feel like I'm interviewing you, but I mean, it kind of goes with the theme of this episode a little bit, and especially with Whitney. She's been very vulnerable and honest throughout the whole series, like since season 1, about her breakaway from the Mormon church. And especially in this episode when she's talking about like finding happiness within herself again. I mean, she went through a lot of hell when she left the church. I think it was a combination of being left/kicked out because she had an affair with her current husband, and trying to reclaim that happiness that she used to once felt, like showing those pictures of her on the stripper poles and stuff. Like a lot of that happened on the show, like season 1, they showed that, which is, if you're Mormon, like that is not even taboo. It's like, oh hell no, no pun intended. When does that start soaking in? Like where you're able to start understanding what is going on? When does that happen?
It didn't change for me until I was a lot older. My daughter will go and see some of her relatives that go to church, and she'll come back with like a Jesus coloring book. And she's like, who's that? Those are nails in his hands? Who hurt him? Because at 5 years old, everything is super literal. And she's just like, and I'll tell her. And I'm like, what was this? My friend went to Egypt with her boyfriend. And so then I decided to watch The Prince of Egypt. What's that? Why is that bush on fire? Who's that? And I was just like, Kyla, why are you watching this with this 5-year-old here? Because she does have questions.
Send her in. Ask all the questions. Because I'm sure they would be like,
I know. So I was an adult when I started to make choices and like really decide. But it wasn't truly until I was 28 years old, going to law school. I was trying to leave my prior church. And I couldn't find a good reason to leave. My parents had left, not the religion, but they stopped going to that specific church. And I wanted to leave and I couldn't find a reason. You know, you get so ingrained in like, I'm doing this event and that event, I'm helping out with this. I was like, okay, when I get into law school, I'm leaving. I'm going to get into law school. So I applied to go to law school. I don't get into any of them in Ohio. And I was like, I'm taking this as a sign I'm not supposed to stay in Ohio. I did for undergrad, not for law school.
Oh, you did? I was just being funny.
Yeah. I didn't get in, but I still got the letter. And I was like, I remember. And so
it's okay. Rory Gilmore didn't get anything. No, she did. I'm sorry, she did.
It's okay.
Sorry, go on. Paris did.
And so I'm like, I'm leaving. And I made the decision because you have to go to like the main pastor and tell him you're leaving. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like leaving. The church. Not like the religion, but that specific church. But you get so enmeshed in being so there. Weird to me.
Yeah.
But
no disrespect.
I know it's so odd, but you don't just not go. Somebody's going to call you
now?
Or email you.
And reflecting on that part of your life, do you find it like, that's
not
odd.
Really, because they say your frontal lobe doesn't develop to 25. So I was 27. But so I tell them I'm leaving and I get my first acceptance to law school 2 days later. Because I think like the universe would not let me use law school as an excuse to leave. I had to make the decision on my own. I know. So I've always believed in things bigger. When I was a little kid, I used to ask God what to wear for the day. I'd be like, these shoes are these. And then someone found out and they were like, God doesn't care about that. Stop asking him.
Did you get an answer?
Yeah.
I guess
like the sun would come through the window or something and hit one pair of shoes or the other.
I'm going to say something really selfish. Yeah. And I understand that. I'm not religious. I have a cross in my hand. I consider myself a very spiritual person. Like I 100% believe there's something much larger than myself that exists. What that is, I go back and forth. Yeah. I do pray. I pray to God often. When I'm praying for some, like whatever, I say the same things. I always pray to God, the universe, and now my grandmothers.
Aww.
They were both deeply religious women, very accepting and progressive in many, many ways, both Democrats, very religious people. So now every time I pray, I'm like, please just, maybe I say, please God, please universe, and please Grandma, and Puna. That's what we call my mom's mom. So aside from that, when I hear people talk to God and they're like, and they just spoke to me, I'm like, you know what's interesting is I've tried this whole thing of like, I just need because I believe in signs. I'm always searching and looking and like open to all, like however it presents itself. When you say that, like what, like was it a voice in your head? Like what is it? Because I've been open to it and never has there been a thing where like do this.
Well, here's an example for me.
Okay.
And you can let me know. We can cut it if you want. You keep saying, I want a different job. I want a different job. I want a different job. And you're applying to all these roles. And people tell you are phenomenal, but no, stay here. What else do you want? They're literally telling you are absolutely perfect, but you're not going to switch. So if you keep saying, no, I'm going to try to switch, what example do you want?
I feel like I have an example because that makes sense to me. It's more like, I don't know, like in your deep moments when you're praying, like, listen, I need an answer. Like, not me necessarily towards anything specific. It's like, my job, it's not good. No love in my life. I feel extremely lonely. Like, what should I do next?
Yeah.
And that's a very like broad question.
Yeah.
Silence.
So here's the thing.
And I'm still waiting for that answer.
Do you believe you're going to get an answer? Because if you said, show me 5 unicorns if I'm supposed to do something, and then you're like, why the fuck do I keep seeing these unicorn balloons? You have to like believe you're going to see something.
I do. I believe in signs and showing them. I think, and maybe this is my own psychological now, of like, I feel so let down because I'm like, I've just been in a very not good place, probably in the last year and a half at this point. And it seems like, life, you take 2 steps forward and get pushed back 5 steps back. That's a normal thing. And I anticipate that in life. And my life has never been easy. I was born into the world with a challenge, right? I understand like life is very tough. And I'm sure anyone like with a chronic illness or some sort of predisposition in life can relate when I say like this side comes in. I'm like, I expect the worst. I understand that that's a part of life. That's why I don't ask for specific, like, show me
it's all right,
a deer crossing the street. You know what I mean? I don't do that kind of stuff. I have put a lot of work into the world and onto myself. I'm very flawed and I make a lot of bad decisions still. However, I'm waiting for that return on my investment. I've yet to see it in 35 years.
This is it. As I look into the camera with you.
That's fair. And to answer your question, though, do I believe? I feel like I've been so let down of trying to believe in something. And nothing is coming back around, at least that I could point to, that is at least obvious. I'm like, well, it's fine. This happened, this happened, this happened. I kind of believe, and then this, and this. I'm a no bullshit person. And I think I do believe in God because I often say that. And I know God and me, we're like, listen, I swear to God and God accepts that. And I would argue, but believe, I know this is going to piss off a lot of religious people. I believe God probably swears.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I mean, he's
been through some shit. So it's like, come on. Jesus has been through a lot of shit. I ain't going to hell because I have a good heart. But
I mean, who knows what the heck is after? So
or
this
reincarnated.
ties well into today's episode.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Okay, so Whitney has them go to a winery, and then there's a spiritual intuitive, which I think it's really important that the person comes from New York, because I'm thinking that she didn't want any of the skeptics to be like, it's someone here in Utah, they know about us.
Well, the whole thing with Britani, and I'm jumping ahead for a second here, but she annoys the fuck out of me, but I will say she's the gift that keeps on giving at the same time, because I'm just like, you are so dense. Yeah. But when she's sitting there and he's telling her like the most basic things about like communication with her daughter and stuff, she's like in her confessional, she's like, there's no way that he would ever know that. Flashback. They showed last 2 seasons.
But wait. Okay, so you guys, this is going to be fun. Tarot cards. There's 2 kind of readings. Somebody can come to you and say, what are you having a problem with? He doesn't do that.
At least if we didn't see, at least.
He says, you want me to pull cards? And then he says, I'm seeing a conflict. The cards don't tell him this is happening right now. You are the one that says, that must be my daughter. This is the whole mystical thing. And it ties back to Mary being like, I'm not doing it. I'm not tapping into it. Spiritual stuff is here. There's no denying. First of all, who the fuck would have made a deer or a frog or what? There's all kinds of stuff we don't understand.
Evolution.
There's all kinds of evolution from what?
I go down that rabbit hole. I believe in science of the world creation.
I believe in science too, but like, first of all, yes, God could be a man and
or could be a woman. Ariana Grande said so.
And now people say God or source or universe. So
anyways, yes.
When you and I met, we met at this corporate retail office, and there was a spiritual intuitive woman who sat next to us, and she used to always do aura readings. She would do human design readings. She calls herself a cosmic mother, cosmic coach. I was so scared to talk to her because I just knew she was going to make me uncomfortable and make me challenge all of the stuff that I do. So Dominic, of course, is like, I'm signing up for this. Oh my gosh, she just told me this, and that. And I'm like, Dom, I don't care. Because I'm trying to keep myself in my box. I'm not trying to be spiritual right now. She and I ended up connecting for so much longer. This is a picture of him having his aura reading. She and I ended up connecting for so much longer. And I did have to tap into, Kyla, what you are avoiding is controlling you. And so you have to pay attention.
If I remember correctly, that was not an easy journey for you.
It was very uncomfortable because I had to say, like, life can suck and can be very, very difficult. But when I wake up in the morning and say, thank you that I just had a night's sleep. Thank you that my bed is warm. Thank you that I'm in this house. Thank you that I can hear my kid next door. Yeah. When I think about that, it does help me get up and move around and do stuff. Yeah. It makes no sense that I got that job except for the fact that I sat next to you for a year and a half.
Yeah. Same.
And almost 3 years later, we are recording a podcast. Like, those are signs.
Yeah.
Even if we only met for that now, I'm with it.
Yeah,
As a trained
totally
lawyer and someone who is taught to only believe what you see or think 5 steps ahead,
yeah. In fact,
to believe that there is more out there than we could even possibly comprehend is like relaxing to me.
Yeah.
To be like, I'm actually not in control of all of it. It brings so much comfort.
You know, I relate to that. I don't think I've ever actually said this out loud or connected the dots necessarily or thought too much about it. I believe in facts, like 1 + 1 = 2.
In vaccines.
In vaccine side. And when I talk about it though, it's often in relation when I'm talking about politics. I'm very passionate about politics and I don't understand how people cannot believe what's right in front of them. And that's a whole nother conversation that drives me insane. And even like emotionally working through some of my own like issues, I've often said like, I don't do good in the gray area because I'm a facts person. I'm like, this is what happened. This is what caused. I'll give you an example of like my mental health.
Well, do you want to talk about, and you mentioned it a little bit, do you have a chronic illness? You said you were literally born with
Yeah, I mean, I have cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic lung disease. You're born with it. And I was diagnosed at 9 months old. I'm gay. And so a lot of those things I have no control over, right? When I was older, I moved from my home in New York to Alaska. I'm very open and honest about it. I talked about this on the season finale of my own podcast. I talked about like a ritual that I often do of like kind of having a funeral for the things that never happened for yourself. And I think it's okay to acknowledge the things that, while we'll never know what we could have been, sometimes we do formulate like lives and like, oh man, like would have been nice if this happened or blah, blah, blah. And I had a funeral for like the person I never became that I thought maybe could have, who knows? But instead of dwelling on it, I put it to rest by having like, okay, well that person is no longer here.
Yeah.
You know? And so I moved to Alaska and that's where everything, and so I had a lot of mental issues and I could never figure it out. So it wasn't until I was adult in my 20s, I was diagnosed with clinical depression, anxiety disorder. That still didn't feel right. And it wasn't until I think I was 27 or 28, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. The reason why I say all that is the facts person in me. It was like, none of this is making sense. I had a great childhood. My parents loved me. The only thing I would say is I dated men, even for a young age, that I would say like verbal abuse was a big thing. I was never good enough. I didn't love you. You're ugly, fat, all this kind of stuff. Change your personality and I'll date you. I was used to that, but my household was love. So I'm always trying to find the thing, like, why am I the way that I am? With that being said, all this kind of stuff, intuitive healers, it is very interesting to me that I'm so open to the universe. Yeah. Because the other part of me in my life is like, no, this is why this happens. Yeah. You are fucked up because you were verbally abused.
You want cause and effect.
Exactly. But to your point, though, I relate to what you're saying because I guess it's similar to religion in the sense that people need a faith-based system to believe in something bigger than themselves. Mine just happens to be in a more broader sense of like, I believe there's something mystical and magical that's maybe God has a hand in that. I think that's where my worlds combined. I don't think one exists without the other. Yeah. But energy and like what you put out there is what you get back. And there's something more meant for you when you can like lean into it, but you have to go on a journey of figuring that out. But it is what you just said, it resonated. And I never thought about it of like, my mind works in facts, except for all of this.
Well, first of all, you look so cute in this picture.
This is my aura reading from this person that you're talking about.
It's so cute.
And I remember telling you when this happened, when I found you, we went to an event, which was weird because I told you, and she happened to be in vicinity. I was like, everyone else's auras I saw were blotches of colors. Mine are the same ones, but they're like a rainbow around me. And she basically said, I have all these ideas that are in me. And they're trying to flow up and come to fruition, but you are holding back from something within yourself. And I'm like, I literally got so emotional thinking about it. Because I'm like, even talking to you throughout the years, I would always say these ideas that I'm like, this, I want to do that, blah, blah, blah. But I was never doing it.
And now we're doing one of them. And she was one of the first people to comment on our LinkedIn post and was like, oh my God, I love this for y'all.
Yes. And so love her.
And I'll be curious to see the second part of this episode because they're still at the winery and find out what happened with Mary. Yeah. Because when I was a little kid, going to church, I saw prophets. I was at one of those churches where they believed in spiritual gifts. And so if you believe that God can tell you a message for my life, why wouldn't I believe that you could tell a message if you're not in church? So I probably have always had that. Yeah. But here's something, and I've told you this in little spurts. I've just recently admitted it to my husband again. Because for years I would tell myself, I just want to be Melinda Gates rich. Like I have all the money and you just don't know. But that does not line up with me wanting to be visible. Those literally don't fit. So
Yeah.
it's like either you're telling the universe you just want a whole bunch of money while you sit at home, or you're saying you want to. I was a little kid, I would see my name in lights, like on a marquee at like the Ohio Theater, like in lights. But the only people I knew who were famous like that were pastors, and I didn't want to be a pastor. So I think I kind of like squelched it and was like, no, I'm fine being the quirky, funny, silly girl in the back.
Yeah.
I'm fine with being like the church helpmeet who's running all the events but is not on stage.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like coming back to myself at 7 years old to be like, what did I used to want?
Yeah.
And that was what I wanted. And I have no idea what it would look like.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And so for me, my signs are, Dom says he wants to start a podcast. You've never done a show with a host. You're going to lean into it because you know him and you trust him. You're going to put up social media every single day, even though your show is brand new. And every single view, I don't care if it's 3 views, you're like, oh my God, we got some attention. Thank you. And then you get a video that has 4,000 views and it blows your mind because you've had a podcast for 5 years and you've never had that. These are all nudges that say, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Yeah. So yes, I do believe in spiritual stuff.
I will say too, I love that you have that perspective because I need to hear that because I'll be like, oh, only 200 people looked at this. And I'll get so defeated with myself, like on my own personal, like, well, my personal TikTok is my dog. And I'm like, why does this not have 100,000? Because she's the cutest thing on earth. And so I think part of me is kind of this, I'm her dad. So I'm like, she's the best thing in the world. But that's not how this whole algorithm and social media aspect works necessarily. Yeah. So why wouldn't you feel proud of that?
Do you talk to 200 people every day?
Sometimes it feels like it.
So if 200 people, okay, so outside of work, do you talk to So if 200 people looked at your video, that is a huge deal. And it took you what? 30 minutes to post, if that. 30 minutes for 200 people's attention is a huge return on investment.
That's a self-deprecating thing because then you watch some of these other influencers and you're like, fuck, they have like 500,000 views and like millions of likes.
So what do you think about me? Every post I expect
I know
to go
I
viral.
need it.
Every single one I put up, I don't care if it's a coffee cup. I'm like, I can't wait for it to go viral. I expect every single one to.
But that's the thing. It's like, what makes something viral? No one has an answer for that.
Me
because there is. I don't think there is one.
Yeah, it just hits at the right moment.
Because how many times have you come across a video on your FYP and it's the only video that they have?
I know.
And it's like, well, how does that work?
Can you imagine how stressful that would be? What if your first video was viral? You would never live up to that expectation.
No, you know what?
You'd probably quit.
What I compare it to a certain extent, I suppose, is I've often heard this theme in music, especially like some of my pop girls have been asked that question of like
one-hit wonders.
Not even that. It's like, okay, this album was a massive success. What next? I feel like someone has often asked Adele this because she kept setting records for herself. It's like, okay, 19 was good. 21, Someone Like You was on that album, Rolling in the Deep. And then she came back with 25. It hit records.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a question that it's like, well, how do you...
Why would there be a cap? There's not a cap.
There isn't. And I think people often ask Katy Perry this because her career... For whatever reason, not that I agree with it, I think she's one of my favorite artists. And I think it has nothing to do with her and her music or talent rather than people's own personal bullshit with her for whatever reason. But she had the most massive success of like her first few albums.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, did it just plateau, but it continues to? So it's like, well, how do you keep like, when you have success for something, how do you maintain that? You know what's actually really weird I just thought about is, I don't know if you remember at that said company that we used to work with, I remember I would sit in meetings where they had like very like historic success. And I remember it became a conversation of like, okay, well, realistically,
how do we maintain?
It's not going to go up from here necessarily. And they called it the
S curve.
S curve. And I now that I'm saying, I want to look back into that, especially since I'm doing marketing right now in school, because I think there's something to that of like, but what a pressure that must feel.
For me, if I tell myself I'm going to post, it has to be a very specific conversation. Because if I pressure myself too much, I just won't do it. The rebellion in me will be like, fuck that. If I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. So I have to be like, post because you said you would, and 2 minutes tops, you have to put it out there and it's done. So I give myself a cap, and then I'm also like, just put something out. Because I don't know what you're going to enjoy. All I know is the video I've recorded. We don't know, So I have to put a cap. But
speaking to what you're talking about, I'll catch people up on what we're talking about in terms of the episode.
Yes.
Is that so Whitney's hosting a wine tasting event for the group, adding a psychic named Terrence.
I thought it was so random. His name was Terrence. Wow. I don't know why.
I was like...
I don't know. I was just like, a white Terrence? I've never met.
Oh, I've met several.
Okay.
To give readings for each of them. It's meant to be positive, which I did love. But if you watch the episode, you know that didn't last. Mary expresses discomfort, calling out that she doesn't do psychic stuff, saying, "Not today, Satan."
I respect how Mary said she wasn't going to participate, but I do not think it's because she does not believe it at all. I have a feeling that she's like, I am not ready at this moment for whatever you could say.
Yeah.
I will decide not to.
I think it was the religious part of her too. Right?
Not even now. Maybe since 2003, people are getting very specific and saying they want to be spiritual, not religious. And I grew up very religious, and there was no spirituality to it. I'm talking like where they would ask you to give your first fruits, which is your first paycheck. And if you gave it and you didn't believe that, you just didn't eat for the next 2 weeks. Yeah. And so it's not like, wow, God really didn't show up. It's like you never were expecting anything. And also you didn't have it.
Yeah.
So you can't believe the person who said they wanted your money.
Yeah. That makes
versus
sense.
Your own. So it took me a long time to figure it out.
Accept that.
But like, I've never had a reading. I would be open to it now because I have tapes, literal cassette tapes of going to see prophets at church and them saying that what they call is speaking over your life. I would be fascinated to listen now and see if the stuff that they've said I'm doing now. And I don't think there's a difference. And I don't think it's that a prophet at church is good and a tarot reader is bad. He pulls the cards and then you tell him what you're seeing in the cards. Now, I think that's probably different than a palm reader, but it's not like
and
if he sees the death card, it doesn't mean someone's dying. It's like...
No, it is all left to interpretation.
It is. Plus, she tells us about how the person who owned the property killed himself and their spouse.
No, I did understand that. I was like, okay, that's legitimate.
Yeah.
That's I believe in juju and all that kind of stuff. I was like, I don't know. It did look beautiful though, the place. And what I loved about this episode too, I love Whitney's story this season. I love vulnerability. We know that. And kind of not chasing, I should say. I would say I love her journey of rediscovering her happiness with herself. I think I love that.
And as someone who doesn't know her, I thought it was really nice that they gave us those flashback clips of her saying like, I used to do this and used to do that. And when I was being myself, my husband lost his job and we lost all this stuff, but also I want to go back to being myself. I love that. I
will say I watched Watch What Happens Live last night. Whitney was on, and one of the questions he asked her was, when you say you lost money, like how much did you invest and how much did you lose? Her husband was in the audience. She's like, a lot. He's like, more than 100,000. She's like, yeah. He said, more than 2. She said, yeah. I think he kept going up, and it was more than 500,000. She does seem like she's a very passionate individual. Like she believes in what I think she's showing that across all 6 seasons so far. Like you can say what you want about her, criticize her on certain things. I don't think she's a bullshitter by any means. I believe that she really cares and believes in her own mission of what she's trying to do. So that must be an extremely defeating position to be put in. And I can also see why when you're in that, why you turn to, heal different kinds of healers. I've never seen, that's not true. I did see a tarot card reader and I've seen a medium, Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium. I love her. She comes to Columbus a lot on her tours.
Wow.
But what I love about her, she's also a religious woman. And because a lot of people, especially like Catholics, for instance, that would be like, oh no, we don't mess with that. And she's a very religious person. And I think she's a great example of like,
you can be both.
Yeah, both. I like what I said earlier. In my opinion, one doesn't exist without the other. I have friends that go see specific like psychics and all that kind of stuff. I don't say anything personal, but I think people fall in that trap of like, oh my God, my grandmother, yes, she did. And then you start to give the information, which if someone was a con, let's say, and I'm not, I believe in it all. So I'm not saying
analytical side of
you. You are giving them the meat to be able to pick and choose. Like, yeah, that is your great. Did she have? There's a whole art to it of people who can scam that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry. I've seen 3 because I did see one in Massachusetts once at a retreat that I went to, and that one was. And it was for work, and I will tell you, it was very accurate.
Wow.
Everything she said came to be.
So I speak spells over myself every day.
What does that mean? Like
wrote
affirmations?
Down what it's the same thing.
Okay.
I wrote down what I wanted in 2 years and 5 years, and I speak it like it's present tense. Like I'm so happy and grateful. I wrote a children's book. I'm so happy and grateful.
Well, that's manifesting, isn't it? Speaking like it's yours.
But you say it in your own voice. You record it on your phone, and I listen to it while I'm driving, and I'm here. And I literally, there was something on there, and it was like, I'm so happy and grateful I'm out of debt. And I was like, oh, we just took care of that. And so I'm listening to it, and I was like, I'm a children's book author. Am I writing a children's book? And so then I'm like, well, when am I going to? And so it's the cart before the horse or whichever, chicken and the egg. Like, Do I end up writing a book because I said I was going to write a book and I'm listening to myself saying I wrote a book? Or is there another timeline of me where I wrote a book and I'm seeing it as deja vu and I'm like, no, you want to write a book?
I've always struggled with that because first and foremost, I believe in it. I tell people to do it. But I feel like an idiot saying, I'm like, yeah, I'm a millionaire. Because here's the thing, I have not found myself in a comfortable space where I'm like, I think my whole broader point though is I have not found a comfortable space where it feels natural for me just to say something that I'm not, but I am trying to work towards and manifest for myself. You know what I did try is Mel Robbins's the high five method of high fiving myself, and I did try doing that, and every time I felt like a fool.
You're going to until you don't.
Never went away, and I tried it for a long time, and that is not when I'm here. I want to be very specific when I say that. That is not a judgment on that.
Yeah,
I come from a place of like, if I'm not feeling comfortable in that space, I don't believe that I can commit, and you can't tell someone how to feel comfortable, right?
You can't.
So I have yet to, and even though I'm a huge advocate and believer of all these things, the weird thing is, in all of it, I have not found a space where I felt comfortable. I try.
There's a lady called M on the Brain, and she's a neurosurgeon, and she talks about how saying these things to you will literally like rewrite your neuroplasticity and how our brain can expand. And she does say that you can say things, but if you don't believe it necessarily, it doesn't make you more comfortable in doing it.
Yeah.
But she talks about that, and she says certain things like, I'm committed to becoming a millionaire. And like, she just changes the language like a little bit more to where it's not like, okay, I can't even afford ramen right now. Why am I saying that I'm a millionaire? To where it's like, I'm committed to finding a way to be a millionaire. And then it just kind of...
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
But what did you think about the outfits? I really liked...
I hated Meredith. That's
I
the
really
only one.
liked Meredith's outfit. First of all, I thought it was like newspaper. The denim, but like acid wash denim.
No.
And then, of course, I loved Bronwyn's jacket.
I loved it even more when it was just the dress.
Yeah.
But I was like, that is stunning. I do like Meredith. I think her outfits are so tacky.
I mean, Angie didn't even wear... She wore like cheetah or leopard, and it was the garden party. So she didn't even wear
I think
florals.
everyone looked pretty. I thought Whitney looked so pretty. I loved her in pink.
I loved Lisa's outfit.
I know, that wasn't really...
I don't think that I could pull off a leisurely silk pajama set without looking like pajamas.
And I feel like that's like her aesthetic, and she does pull
wears
it off.
it.
Mary's suit was very stunning. I loved that.
Wait, Meredith's suit and her like confessional, that silver.
Yeah, I do like that.
That was stunning.
Even Brittany looked beautiful. They all...
That blue was pretty.
Minus Meredith. Minus Meredith, everyone looked really pretty to me.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think about the readings? Or the women's reaction?
I will say the production team needs an Emmy because I thought it was a true artistic endeavor. First of all, the whole episode took place in one setting, which almost never happens. It was one party. They were all...
I like that it was there.
It was a whole episode. Usually there's some... And it's continuing a little bit to the next episode. You watch one person going for a reading, you're having an emotional moment, and then we pan back to the table, and Angie and Lisa are going at it. And I just love that everyone tapped out to do their reading in the middle. It was almost so comedic.
Okay, go to be spiritual. I'll be back to the argument later.
But I love when they would all come back with like tears in their eye, and like, Heather, you're next. Like, it was just... And then they're like... And again, and Angie and Lisa are going at it. So there was something to me where it's like, this is Housewives for you. Because I'm like, only here would this be like a thing where people are having these emotional ass readings and going through like...
I loved
unpacking, and then you go back and like, fuck you, bitch, and like facelifts, all this stuff. It was gold.
I loved it. I didn't realize how important it was that there was all that setting, but I really liked it.
I also didn't go into some of the details. I didn't realize Brittany was a real estate agent.
I really respected her when she was... Not how she came at Angie. Like,
I love her facial expression. She's like, under her breath, she's kind of like, oh, they cut the price. That's not a good sign.
I'm really like seeing more of her. I like seeing more of her and seeing her talk about her job.
Well, she also had one definite moment. I forgot. I think it was Bronwyn that said something like, Brittany's even hugging me. She even makes me like Brittany, and her face was like...
I know.
That was
they
really funny
openly talk about her. Somebody says something about her hair. She's like, everyone here has great hair except for Brittany.
Yeah. No, that's when she made the face, I think. She was like... I laughed. It was so funny.
I didn't understand the Jared part.
I do.
So she's trying to not talk to him because she had that one conversation with Whitney.
Yeah.
But then she tells her it's only been 24 hours.
Well, that's when she becomes insufferable again.
But also, I have a problem with the term gold digger. All people are expensive. Find a person who's within your income range and let that be it. If he has no problem with paying for her bills and buying her purses, Don't go over to Whitney's husband and talk about how I buy purses. The way I was raised and my husband, men brag about taking care of their women. Oh yeah, she's out shopping again, because it shows how much disposable income you have for your spouse to be out shopping again. Those are not dig. Like, what man do you know? Guess what? My wife is working 3 jobs. People don't brag about that. They brag about taking care of somebody.
I don't take it that way. If anyone ever said that to me, I'm like, you're gross.
Really?
I don't look at life that way. I'm like, okay,
life is expensive.
So yeah, but we don't got to talk about it in that. I guess it depends on your intention. I find money is disgusting, and I love money, and I want to have a lot of it.
Money's not disgusting.
It is, and I'll tell you, it's because of people, an attitude of like a misogynistic guy bragging about like, that's nice, I'm trying not to go in foreclosure.
But what I'm saying is, and you'll start to notice it when you're at work or somebody. When you're around people and they're just like, oh, so and so just did this, or oh yeah, he just got our flights. They're not saying it like, how dare they? It's more of a, guess what? I could do this.
I think I never take personally that way. I'll give you an example.
Because if people walked around and were like, hey, I'm in foreclosure, what do you want someone else to say? Oh, me
I hear
too.
You.
Or,
yeah.
Oh, well, why are you?
Yes, actually, yeah.
I get that. I don't know how realistic it is, but.
Well, why not? Why can't it be?
Because people.
And that might be a little personal, and that was the first thing that came to my mind. Listen, I get shit all the time for going there. And maybe I am too much. I don't know. People are struggling all the fucking time, and especially right now. I don't think it's a flex bragging about those types of things. Even if your intention is not to do that, it doesn't. As someone that is struggling, I don't see that as aspirational. I find that like, wow, I feel even worse about myself. I'll give you an example. There's an influencer, very, very, very popular makeup influencer that's getting a lot of flack for doing a haul of all she spent, I think, $100,000 on designer bags.
Oh, wow.
And I commented, I'm like, that's actually really tone deaf for what we're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
And actually, I've seen a lot of Stitch videos of people going, that is just not the flex you think it is.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a very disgusting display of wealth. And here's the thing. I'm not going to assume it didn't come off necessarily like she was going, look what I have, you don't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. But there's something about read the room. This is not a flex right now. I would argue, when is that something you want to I would never think to make a video and show off.
Yeah.
I bought a $600 espresso machine because I want to make coffee content.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to say. Look what I'm not going to tell you the price.
Yeah.
Because that's not the focal point.
I know.
So like,
I get it.
I think it's all about intent for first and foremost.
Yeah.
And maybe if you are with your other rich friends that also do that, maybe. But even thinking about like a room full of rich guys bragging about, I bought my woman 6 designer Chanel bags. Like,
maybe not to that extent, but
I just don't see like what is the end goal with saying any of that. And I wasn't raised with money. I don't have it. I have some wealthy family members to a certain extent. Real wealth
is quiet.
If you feel the need to talk about it as if it's a flex, that says everything about your insecurities and what you're trying to project rather than what you really got. Because I'm going to assume maybe in 5 years you're going to file for bankruptcy.
So how did you feel about Angie saying, I have all the money, look at all 5 of my black cards?
I don't love it. However, the only slight thing I'll say to that is what I see is a self-made woman who made that. Like I said, I think it's intent. If we want to go there, let's talk about my bank account, the one that I built on my own. I know her husband is a partner of hers, so that was more of a collab. Like we built this. She didn't look at her father, an immigrant.
Well, I didn't see the difference between her saying and then the ladies start making the gesture as if Britani has been giving oral sex in order to get things paid for. And I hate the judgment of it all, but I also don't have the context of the other seasons. So I didn't see a big difference in Lisa and these lawsuits and somebody paying her bills and then Angie saying, I have all these cards. I did not see
I'll tell you this. Okay. I'll tell you the difference. If you're going to do it, don't fucking lie about it like your shit ain't dirty. I'm directing that at Lisa Barlow. If those court documents are true, I'll say alleged because I don't think whatever's happened. But let's say that they are. Don't try to hide with me that your life is all sunshine and rainbows and that you are so self-made, all this kind of stuff. When actually the real story is, I'm not saying you're not a hard worker. Let's be very clear. That you have a guy that's not your husband paying your fucking bills and you're not telling him, and that's in those court documents. Don't tell John Barlow. That's the main difference. if I have problems and we're gonna talk about it, you know what? I'm like a Whitney. Then I failed. I have no money.
Yeah.
Don't try to hide your shit. That's where the difference is to me.
Yeah.
Angie's like, yeah, I have all this shit. Until something bad maybe happens and we learn something different, there's no other reason for me to believe that she's not in any kind of financial mess that she's not owning. Britani, she's just whatever.
But that's the other weird thing, not weird, but nuanced thing about like an intuitive. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's someone in your life that you really want out. And then they show a clip of Lisa walking out of the room or Mary. And I'm like,
yeah.
When you do have your readings, you're going to think about stuff that's happening right then.
Oh,
you could literally have a reading the next week and it could be a completely different thing.
I think a good example of that, I think maybe there could be some truth to it. When the intuitive told Angie about the horse injury, mm-hmm. and then she flings the horse, and Mary was like, well, I guess he was right. I'm like, but it could mean something as simple as that, actually. It really could. And I thought it was actually so funny. I'm like, oh my God.
That part broke my heart because you give my daughter gifts mm-hmm. all the time. Mm-hmm. If we were ever upset with each other to the point I brought you her sidewalk chalk that's half used and was like,
I'd be like, wow, you are a fucking bitch.
I was like, how? First of all,
I did not like that.
For this to be a whole intuitive episode, the energy she has to be packing up that stuff, that is all on Angie. To be like,
I'm a big Angie fan. I did not like that. I'm like, because I kind of agree with like, even though Mary was saying it to Lisa, mm-hmm. it's kind of like, you need to lead the way. If they mm-hmm. can't see the light, then you need to be the light and be the example of it.
That made me sad when Mary and Angie were going at it. And she was, so I respected where Mary was saying, you've seen Lisa do things, you've been better, or you've forgiven her or whatever. But now I'm not going to just not be that person's friend because you said it. Yeah. I respected that, having no context. Yeah. And then whatever happened, and she's like, no, be on my side or whatever. And that's when Mary got upset. But because I felt like Mary was really hurt by that. Yeah. Like her face looked like she was really hurt by that.
That one's complicated for me because I am a very, very loyal person. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to not be that person. I don't call everyone my friend. If I call you my friend, I'm going to ride or die for you. If I love you, I ride or die for you. There's that side of me that says, I don't want anyone to have blind loyalty either, because that's not, I want it to be genuine at the same time.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing from Angie, she's crying, she like hits the table, whatever, all this kind of stuff. So clearly there's a chord in her that is really being tapped that is not feeling well.
Yeah.
And so what I'd see if I was a Mary or a good friend of hers, I'm like, okay, my friend is in distress. That's all I see.
Yeah.
That's how I tend to view things. And then I understand on the flip side of like when I'm assuming it was just the comment that Angie said, like, okay, you all still go back to her because Angie said to Mary, like, mm-hmm. You are still her friend after all the shit that she said about you, which she has.
But if Mary's chosen to forgive her, let it go.
That is I think that is the outlier. It's like, while I understand Angie's emotions, because I probably would do something similar if I'm being completely honest, because all I see is like, I need a friend here to back me up.
Yeah.
No, and I think Heather was almost kind of providing that, hugging her and not saying anything other than
Heather
that
was like holding her back.
Right. But also kind of being diplomatic enough where it wasn't like she was telling her what she needed in that moment.
Because that wasn't
But she wasn't lying to her because she was trying to give grace to Lisa a little bit of like, in that moment is what was needed. And maybe Mary could not be that person to give that to her. And a big emphasis last year was Angie and Mary's friendship. It was one of the things that's often people will say about Housewives of Salt Lake City. It's they love their relationship because Mary's often been standoffish, has not really had like that kind of relationship with anyone on the show. But she opened up about that in the reunion last year. Like she doesn't have relationships like that. She talked about that Angie on an episode last season of it's really hard for her to connect with people and have that connection. And that's why like their friendship meant a lot to her.
Aww.
So I'm also going to assume, and I'm curious to see where this goes, that she's probably hypersensitive too, because she really has kind of have that, trauma a little bit. I think it was really dramatic on both ends, if I'm being completely honest. I'm like, I can see both sides. That wouldn't feel nice, but I'm putting it in exactly what it is. It's like you classify it like, okay, my friend's in distress. She's not thinking rationally right now. I'm not going to take it that way because if she's not acting rational, why would I handle or react to this in a rational way?
It just wasn't the time for the delivery of the message.
So I am curious of where that goes because I know they speak next week.
But wait, this whole argument happened because Heather was like, Lisa, let me ask you. Was it Heather? Meredith.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Because Meredith was like, Lisa, I have to ask you, have you been talking about me?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how old the receipts were of this conversation that Angie brought up to Meredith, but Meredith chose to believe Angie and be like, well, she said she didn't say it, okay.
Kind of, because Heather made a good point because they kind of glossed over it.
Yeah.
Because Heather said, this is not like Meredith, because even they showed a flashback to season 2, I think, or 3.
With the text message or something?
That was Jen Shaw that she was yelling at that moment. I think it was season 2. Meredith blows up on any fine detail, does all this kind of shit.
I haven't seen that.
So for her to give her a pass so easily, that's what, and I agree with Heather. It was like, why are we pressing this more? And maybe because it got lost and then in the Angie and Lisa of it all. I heard this on another podcast and I believe it. I think Meredith and Lisa have a lot of shit on each other.
Oh, like they're like blackmail.
Like there's a whole hot mic scene from season 3 where Lisa goes off and said things about Meredith to produce. She walked away from a table. She's like, she's fucked every guy in New York. She said some really horrible things. And I'll tell you what, I would never forgive someone who talked about me like that. Like, that's my good friend.
Yeah.
And that's what Meredith was also implying in her confessionals. Like, we've worked through a lot of our issues. And
there's a big thing with money on this show. And because her whole thing was that you went on vacation with someone else's credit card.
I'm like, I don't believe that. And I think like that could be easily disputed. She's like, she pulled out her card. She's like, this is my name.
Even if she did and she told her we really were going to go because our family was expecting it or whatever, and to bring it up later, that was dirty. And that was how I felt with like Jared saying that stuff to Whitney's husband.
Yeah.
Are they close?
Who?
Jared and
well,
that
Brittany
guy.
only joined the show last year, she just as a friend, and so I guess they formed a friendship. I don't know. Jared Osmond, this whole saga, I mean, in general, is find it annoying because we're together, we break up. That's been going on since last season,
and they're not even main characters. So
it's so annoying and stupid. Referencing what you said about like because her and Whitney had that conversation. I'm sorry, I'm not a parent. If you're not putting your kids first, I said that's a testament to what kind of person you are, in my opinion. And the fact that she was hesitant of like, well, and she validated that. Now she's back with them. And Whitney was like, wait, I thought you were doing that 30-day or whatever. It's been 24 hours. Like, bitch, you don't give a fuck about your kids then? Like, I don't get it.
What do you think about Brown one hanging up the phone on Jared? Would you be
I loved it. I'm sorry.
You loved it on TV or in real life? Would you?
Both. Okay, let's take it for what it is. Let's say it's all no smoke and mirrors. What's to say? He's a piece of shit. He's leading her on to whatever. And this is when I get old school. Like, I think he's talking to her about her dirty. I don't know what her motives are. I don't know if she's a gold digger. If they have an arrangement, if she does, in fact, want purses and vacations, own it. And I think that's where the whole gold digger thing gets muffled. It's like, if you are going to do that, then own it. Don't try to. We love each other when you just want to bang the guy for free shit. That I don't like.
This was the first episode we even heard that she had a job where she talks about.
I know. I was like, oh god. I mean, I don't know if I missed that, but I'm like, damn. So I did love that movie. I thought it was kind of bad. And they all thought so too.
And they looked up the house. So is Angie selling the house she currently is in, or does she have multiple houses? Okay.
Yeah.
In my mind, when you are a millionaire or like a really impactful influencer person, I can't imagine having people look through your life. Like seeing this episode and seeing how defensive Angie got about this house on the market actually made me feel more sympathy for Lisa and be like, yeah, you guys are talking about this stuff you read. Like it's not actually my life. Because she's caring about this house as if she built it.
Yeah.
She's just selling it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at how defensive she is about that. And so it kind of made me be like, you guys do discuss the lives of other people as if it's a book. Yeah. And these like very sensitive
issues. Or they can be very sensitive topics.
Yeah.
Whether she built her house or bought it, that might be her family home with her daughter, and that's how she sees it.
Yeah.
And who knows why she's selling it? I'm not making one allegation or another. I'm just saying who knows why.
Who knows why?
But if you want to weaponize that, it's kind of like, I get it, the TV show that we have to kind of do this. And that's when it's like, that's not real life. Because let's be completely honest, my friend group, we're not digging up things on each other to have a party. I'm like, so I heard you're filing for bankruptcy. Let's talk about that, you liar. Like that would just never happen. Did
you like the episode?
I did. Of course I did.
I liked it.
So I loved it. I think it only gets better. I am just curious where all these relationships go because it looks like in the next episode, not only are Angie and Mary going to have a conversation, But it looks like there might be a crack in the foundation between Heather and Lisa's friendship. And I did read rumors online weeks ago, like they're not in a good place.
Yeah.
And we're going to see what happens.
We got to talk about it.
And then, it sounds like that's going to be when it happens. Like, we'll see some of that next week when that happens.
Yeah. Bronwyn's mom and what the intuitive said. Because she's like, I've been thinking so much about my dad. But so I thought it was fascinating because I know a couple of friends who have decks and have tarot cards. And I was actually just messaging someone over the weekend. And this lady was like, I just saw a video of someone in the park pulling cards. And then she said something and she was like, I meant to like save the video. Was that you? I was like, no, I don't have a deck. And they were like, oh, really? And I think someone's sending me a deck now. So we'll have to look into it.
I have a card deck. It's more of I can't remember what it's called. I have it literally on my end table. It's like colors and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. It's a little more positive. It doesn't have death cards or anything like that. I have thought about it oftentimes. The thing is, you don't just go to, a store. That one's cool, I'll buy it. It's like, it seems like
Did someone gift this to you?
No, I bought it.
Okay.
I bought it because I bought that at one of my favorite, like, it's crystal. Yeah, it's not far from me. I love it. And I connected. I was like, okay, I was intrigued, and I felt like an emotional connection to it. But it's not anything that would predict the future necessarily or anything like that. So, but I don't know how to read tarot cards. I would want to learn first. Like, that's a lot of cards. I'm like, how do they all know? There's so many of them. How do they all know? They're like, okay, so this one is in reverse. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I used to produce a show for a woman, and she would pull a card before an episode, and it would kind of set the mood for how she was going. But I don't know if that's correct or incorrect. Is there a correct or incorrect?
Well, I did want to do that with my deck. I have manifestation cards. I've never opened them, though.
So you guys got to let us know.
I would do that.
Do y'all believe in woo-woo and manifestation and spirituality?
I do.
I do, too. I think you're a closeted, super spiritual person.
Oh, I think
I feel like if you tap into it, you're going to be like...
Well, I'm an empath. That's what that medium told me. And that made a lot of sense, too. Talk about, like... learning things that really validated, because I'm a deeply emotional person. For you can say it's depression, like I'm just sad to be sad, but then I often have found I feel a very heavy sense of sadness, and I don't know where this is coming from, and then I'll have a conversation with a friend that's going through something, and that's a lot of what empaths go through. It's feeling the world's energy and feelings, especially people close to you.
Wow.
So it's like I take that on, even though I could be sitting in my home I don't know why I'm so sad, but then it's like, well, then I also have mental issues. So it's like, can it be that? I don't know.
Have you ever had a birth chart reading? Because you might have a Pisces in you. They feel a lot.
I don't think I do have Pisces in me.
It's almost giving that empath where they will literally they'll feel the world and they have to decompress it. Part of the fish going both ways because they're always.
I do have a book about empaths, about how to live life as one, because it can be very heavy because it's uncontrollable.
Yeah,
it's really weird that you say that, because I often felt that way in terms of I just said I pray to God and I'm waiting for the voice to happen. So I don't have anything like that, but I do often feel it's just feelings.
Yeah,
I'm like, is it me? Is it something bigger than me? So I feel like there's opportunity to maybe tap it.
I know. We will. We'll have to. All right, you guys.
Man,
talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God, what was my question? See, I keep doing this today.
Okay. It'll come back.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Well, here, I'll lay out. You do it, and then I'll...
Got this elf ear. Okay.